The sun beat down with relentless heat as the waves crashed violently against the hull of the boat. It had all started as a simple vacation trip, a way to escape the chaos of city life. Rachel Myers, a 31-year-old marketing executive from Chicago, had joined a small group of travelers for a sailing retreat through the South Pacific. It was supposed to be 5 days of peace, blue waters, and social mingling. Instead, it turned into something far more extraordinary and life-changing. Rachel hadn't spoken much to the other guests on the boat, but she had noticed one man in particular. His name was Daniel Carter, a 34-year-old wildlife photographer from Oregon, with a rugged look and calm demeanor. He had a quiet intensity in his eyes and an energy that made Rachel feel oddly safe. Still, she had kept her distance. She wasn't there for romance. She just wanted some peace. It was on the third night when the storm hit. They had all been warned about unpredictable weather, but no one expected it to be that violent. The boat rocked violently, thunder cracked the sky, and passengers clung to anything they could as the wind howled. In the chaos, Rachel was thrown overboard. She hit the water hard, struggled to scream, and then everything went black. When she opened her eyes, the world was spinning, her lungs burned, and sand scratched her face. She coughed out seawater, sat up slowly, and took in her surroundings. Palm trees lined the edge of the beach. Waves lapped against her legs. Her clothes were soaked, and her arms were bruised. She was alone. Rachel panicked, screaming for help, running up and down the beach, calling out into the jungle that loomed beyond the shore. Hours passed. She found a small stream for water, some coconuts she managed to crack open, and eventually, she fell asleep on the sand, exhausted and terrified. She was startled awake by a voice, rough and low.
Hey.
You okay? Rachel jolted up and saw him, Daniel Carter. Wet, scratched, and sunburned, but alive. Relief flooded her so intensely that she began to cry. Daniel helped her sit up, offering the small bag he had saved from the boat, which miraculously had a first aid kit and a few supplies. Over the next few days, they figured out they were likely stranded on a small, uncharted island. There were no boats in sight, no cell service, and no clear way to signal for help beyond starting large fires and hoping for a miracle. Despite the danger and uncertainty, Rachel found herself grateful for Daniel's presence. He was resourceful and surprisingly optimistic. He fashioned spears to catch fish, climbed trees for fruit, and always checked on Rachel first before himself. She began to open up about her life back home, her failed relationship, the pressure of work, the loneliness that often hit her despite the noise of a city. Daniel shared his own burdens, his guilt over not visiting his aging father more often, his dreams of publishing a photo book that he'd been putting off, and his deep belief that life was about more than screens and schedules. They talked for hours under the stars. Rachel grew to love the way Daniel listened, really listened. His silences weren't empty, they were thoughtful. One evening, as they sat beside their fire, eating roasted fish, Daniel turned to her and said, "You know, if this island has given me anything, it's perspective. I don't think I ever felt this connected to nature or to someone else." Rachel's heart skipped. The vulnerability in his voice echoed the feelings she hadn't been able to put into words herself. She nodded, staring into the flames. "I feel the same way. Being here, it's stripped everything away, and what's left feels real." The days turned into weeks. They found better ways to collect water, built a shelter that protected them from the rain, and even created a large SOS sign on the beach using rocks and palm leaves. The survival challenges never disappeared, but the fear had changed into something more manageable. There was strength in companionship. They laughed more. She saw Daniel's playful side. He started calling her Chief Myers when she figured out how to build a solar oven out of cans from the washed-up debris. One night, after a long swim in the lagoon, Rachel sat beside Daniel and looked at him with a mixture of gratitude and something deeper. "Do you think we'll be rescued?" she asked. He shrugged, then smiled. "Honestly, I hope so. But part of me is afraid to go back." She understood instantly. The simplicity, the bond they had formed, the absence of distraction. It had all become a kind of paradise. And they had fallen in love without even realizing it. Not the flashy, dramatic kind, but the deep, steady kind that grows in silence and survival. Their first kiss wasn't planned. It happened under the stars, during a quiet moment after a tropical storm had passed. Rachel had been shivering from the cold. Daniel wrapped his arms around her, and she leaned into him. Their lips met softly, hesitantly at first, then with a certainty that neither of them had felt in years. After that, they became even more of a team. They woke up beside each other, their hands always finding each other's throughout the day. When Rachel fell ill from something she'd eaten, Daniel never left her side. When Daniel cut his leg climbing, Rachel took care of him with the tenderness of someone who had truly fallen for him. Then one morning, the sound of a helicopter broke the silence. At first, they thought they were imagining it, but as it grew louder, they ran to the beach, waving arms, screaming, lighting the fire. The helicopter circled, then lowered, and soon a rescue team was bringing them water, blankets, and stunned expressions. They had been missing for over a month. Back in the U.S., the media spun their story into a dramatic tale of survival and unexpected romance. Island love, some articles called it. But for Rachel and Daniel, it wasn't a spectacle, it was something intimate and real. They moved in together just a few weeks after returning. The adjustment to city life was hard. Traffic, noise, phones, everything felt surreal. Yet every night, they made it a rule to sit on their balcony and talk under the stars, just like they did on the island. They never stopped telling each other how grateful they were that fate, or maybe even something more mysterious, had brought them together. A year later, Daniel published his photo book, filled with images he had taken on the island before the storm. He titled it "Found Love on Desert Island." Rachel helped him write the foreword. It read, "Sometimes it takes getting completely lost to find exactly what you need." Their love didn't come from dating apps or grand gestures. It was born from survival, trust, and raw honesty. And in a world that often feels too loud and too fast, their island had given them the rarest treasure of all, each other.